I haven't had such a high sex drive since high school after my divorce. My husband 58 and I 47 recently concluded a 24-year-long marriage a few months ago in an amicable fashion. Abusive, manipulative, volatile and controlling are some of the words I could use to describe him towards the latter part of our relationship after a very rosy first 15 years of marriage. Needless to say, I am living my best life post-divorce. You take for granted the value of independence until you finally realize and feel what it used to be. An old friend of mine took me out a couple nights and ever since then I've felt him back in my teenage years with my sex drive on full capacity. Not just that, my work and overall lifestyle and happiness is liberated through my freedom and independence. I hope everyone who has been through what I have, found solace and happiness back in your life. I hide the amount of sugar I put in my oatmeal. I go to college and I'm on the meal plan. In the mornings, sometimes I like to get oatmeal. I usually scoop what I would call an embarrassing amount of brown sugar in it. Not a huge amount, but a few scoops, which is enough to cover the oatmeal being visible at all when on top of it in the little cup. I like to walk the thin line between what's considered brown sugar with my oatmeal versus oatmeal with my brown sugar. Anyways, I was always embarrassed checking out when all the cashiers could see was brown sugar in my cup. They know there is oatmeal under it but they don't know how much and I'm worried they're going to assume it's like most of the cup, which it isn't. I know it's dumb that they would think that and they don't care, but that's how my brain sees it and I'm embarrassed nonetheless. This morning, I got a genius idea: scoop some oatmeal, put in my brown sugar, and then scoop more oatmeal to put on top of it so when I check out they can't see it. I'm ecstatic, like I hacked the system. Now I can be a brown sugar fiend without the judgmental eyes of the cafeteria workers. That's all, I just wanted to tell someone about this trivial victory. My mom died and everyone blames me for being a bad son. I haven't spoken to my mother in 3 years. That's after years of emotional abuse and manipulation. When I got engaged to my now wife, my mom started being horrible to her in many ways, even physically. She made our lives a living hell so I made the decision to protect me and my partner and I went completely NC with her. She wasn't invited to her wedding and she hasn't met her kids. Yes, these things sadden me but I'd like to believe it's not my fault she wasn't part of my life. Of course the fact that I didn't speak to my mom got me lots of backlash from many family members and also family friends but also our community who adored my mom and would never believe her to be the horrible mother and person she was to me and my wife. Most people attacked my wife claiming it's her fault my mom and I never reconciled. I have been called a terrible son over and over again for not having a relationship with her. Even if she's the most horrible person to walk this earth she's still your mom. You only have one mom, there's no excuse not to talk to her is what people who I thought cared about me told me. Apparently their love and support only came with the condition that I let my mom walk all over me and abuse me. So 4 days ago I got the news that she passed away. I felt sad, desperate and angry. I started blaming myself for having no contact with her for so many years. Later, I realized it's for the best that I didn't. I made the decision to attend her funeral which was yesterday. My wife attended with me for support. The only person who was kind to us was my father. All the rest of friends and relatives made a scene at the funeral on how we have no shame. And that I can't just remember I suddenly have a mom now that she's dead and that I was the most horrible son and everyone wished my own kids treat me worse than I treated my mother when I grow old. I feel much anger but also guilt. I don't know how to process this. A girl informed my son that she's pregnant and that there's a 1 in 3 chance he could be the father. I'm sitting here thinking fuck. He told me that he used a condom and that there's no chance he could be the father. But we all know that condoms aren't 100% effective. My son is only 15 and having a baby would ruin his education and college prospects. Honestly, I'm pissed at this whole situation. He's going to have to take a DNA test along with 2 other boys in this situation. I regret not having more sex in my 20s before my body changed. I'm in my late 20s, female. I used to date in my early/mid 20s, pandemic hit and I just stopped. At a time we weren't supposed to see even our close friends and family, meeting strangers didn't seem right. I took it for granted, but my whole life, I felt really comfortable with my body. The pandemic led me to develop a lot of agoraphobia that took me quite a long time to shake off. I'm finally ready to date again, was still nervous because it had been so long, but this summer my body totally changed. I got cellulite all over my stomach. It's genetic as all the women in my family are thin but still have it. I know there's nothing wrong with cellulite and lots of people don't care. But the thing is, I do. I don't feel sexy. I lose weight, I gain muscle, the cellulite is still there, I can't fight it. No amount of positive posts will make me feel better about it. I used to be okay with lights on but now I can't stand the idea. I wish I was having sex all those years that I felt good about myself. I know I was super privileged to have a stereotypically sexy body, but I still feel like I wasted it. I miss how into my body other people were. I miss how into my body I was. I want it back and I wish I dated while I still felt confident.